So now, the title of our topic or conversation for today is an article from the Philippine Studies Historical and Ethnographical Viewpoints. By the way, this article is really, itong journal na to, isa sa mga high-end journal that we have here in the Philippines as far as Philippine history is concerned. Okay? So, ang nagpapublish nito ay ang Ateneo de Manila. So, kaya napakaganda ng article na to. It's because matagal na yung tradition nito. 1960s pa to nag-start. So, ngayon ay tuloy-tuloy pa. Unlike in PNUSL, ngayon pa lang tayo nag-start ng journal. So, yung journal na i-start natin ay Lukad Journal. So, and hopefully, we'll be able to come up with the caliber of the Philippine Studies Historical Viewpoints. So, let's start with the title. Okay, the title is Hegemonic Tool. So what do you mean by hegemonic tool? Ibig sabihin ng hegemonic tool, there is particularly what we call epistemic violence, or particularly an invisible violence that has been directed to us. So particularly, it wanted to talk about discourses, okay? Particularly discourses on what? Discourses on nationalism, on how nationalism is being portrayed in history textbook for 100 years, okay? So as you can see here, okay, in the abstract, this study wanted to explore, okay, how many textbooks. So it's 15 textbooks that is from 1905 to year 2000 in order to identify four things. How, okay, these 15 textbooks view the membership in the nation. Okay, so yun yung gustong tingnan. Second, it wanted to take a look on how this textbook view the origins of the people. Okay, and then number 3 is how it looks on the national self-image. And number 4 is it wanted to take a look into the views of the hero and the heroism exemplified by Jose Rizal. Okay, so and the study was able to take a look at it by particularly looking into the themes. Okay, so ito yung mga themes na tiningnan, ng mga discourses. And it suggests that there is plurality, okay, magkakaiba, and competing social forces. Magkakaiba yung membership in the nation, origins of the people, national self-image, and heroism exemplified by Jose Rizal. Okay? So, now, okay, the first statement, okay, in the first part is particularly it wanted to take a look at, okay, the school. Okay? Gusto nitong tingnan muna ang school. What is the role of the school? Okay, the role of the school is an ideology, a main mechanism for knowledge transfer, di ba? So ang school ay it's a mechanism, okay, of knowledge transfer towards the promotion of values, okay, towards the creation of a cohesive nation. Okay? So yan yung gustong tingnan. And one thing that is very important in school is particularly the role of textbooks. Okay, what is the role of the textbooks? It's because in teaching history, civic virtues, and moral education. So that's why, okay, there is a need to study and analyze the politics of schooling and democratization of knowledge production. Okay, so because, okay, the textbooks are considered as official knowledge, okay, that is particularly, okay, embodied in the official curriculum. Okay, so di ba in your elementary, in your high school, you have your textbooks, right? So at mapapansin natin itong mga textbooks na to is being considered as an official knowledge. Usually dito kinukuha yung mga assessment, right? So, for example, yung mga galing even in private school, in public school, there is a prevalency of textbooks. So, sabi ni Michael Apple, okay, in 1993, it's an official knowledge that is propagated in the rest of the school, in the rest of the society, if it is implemented nationally in the rest of, okay, the nation. Okay? So, that's why the textbook has an important role in reshaping, okay, education. Okay? So that's why it wanted to take a look at it. Okay? So it wanted to take a look at, okay, how, okay, so kung mapapansin natin dito in the critical pedagogy tradition, okay, it says that there is somehow a possibility of inculcating a different kinds of ideology. Okay? Particularly in what has been perpetuated in our textbooks. And this has been pointed out by Renato Constantino in his essay entitled Miseducation of the Filipinos, and also Constantino's discourse on the World Bank textbook scenario for deception. Okay? So, meaning to say, these textbooks has been used by in Preyer's term by the oppressor in order to show or to perpetuate hegemony in the society, in order to inculcate values of neocolonialism. Okay? So at ang medyo nakakagulat dito, marami ditong mga different individuals who've studied, okay, this kind of reality. Okay? We have, for example, Doranilla, wherein it shows that, okay, the more yung textbook inhibit or exhibit lack of nationalism. Yun ang nakakagulat. Ano? So, kaya nga kung mapapansin natin, for example, sino ba yung vlogger na ipinakita si Jose Rizal pero hindi kilala. Okay, kung mapapansin natin, what is the reason behind? Sasabihin, ang bobo naman niya, etc. But that is a failure of textbook as well. Okay, kasi mamaya makikita natin ano yung dahilan dito. And then another, this is a friend of mine, okay, si Dr. Niels Mulder. Okay, he is from Sariaya and has become also my mentor. Okay, pero he's a Dutch scholar that, okay, he tried to take a look at, okay, the context of parallelism, okay, or the political dynamics in the Philippines, or particularly, okay, it reflects kung ano ang textbook, it reflects on what society do we have right now. Okay, for example, napapansin natin ngayon, okay, we have poor modules, right? Okay, because of napansin natin na bakit poor module yung nangyayari sa ating society ngayon, na exposed na ang ating educational system. It's because, okay, maraming mga mali sa ating mga module. Okay, what is the reason? Because it reflects a certain kind of, okay, leadership. Okay, leadership in text, in DepEd. Bakit nagkakaganon? Ano, ang dami-dami namang mga teachers, pero bakit maraming mga maling-maling module? Bakit hindi na lang, for example, nag-collaborate na lang yung mga teachers and etc. Okay? So that is one reason. So what is the good thing about, okay, the author, okay, Kuraming, is that he was able to be balanced, ano, in ways of looking at, okay, this, okay, textbook analysis. So ang gusto niyang ginawa ay textbook analysis. So sinabi niya that, okay, there are particularly different approaches. Okay, pero sa ngayon, absent pa rin yung mga different theories. There is already an absence of theory. So pero tiningnan niyo muna, there is a critical pedagogy approach, and that is in the critical pedagogy, okay, textbook are used as an instrument to help hegemonic control that is perpetuated by the dominant elite. Okay? So, kaya kung mapapansin natin, the textbooks are being regulated. Okay? And then, kung mapapansin natin dito, another is in the second approach. Okay? Dito sa second approach, textbook, okay, has a consensus document. Textbook reflects, okay, the concern, the conventional wisdom, and even the facts of the age they produce. So, the authorship of textbook can be attributed to the curriculum planners, parents, and stakeholders, and etc. through the theory of accommodation. Third one, sinasabi na ang textbooks naman ay, okay, a product of is neutral. Walang problema sa textbook. It's a neutral, ano? Because education is neutral. So it's neither as a product of consensus nor an instrument of hegemonic control. That is been shown by Caroline Boynes. Ano? And then Neil Mulder has pointed out that textbook is a mirror of reflection of what is happening in the society, particularly the dynamics of political relation. Ito yung interesting na tingnan kay Mulder. Okay? And then third one is particularly shown by Lowen, okay, wherein he argues the lies history teachers tell. Sipin mo, mga sinungaling pala ang mga history teachers. Ano? So particularly within the dynamics of textbook production, marketing, and evaluation. Okay? He concludes that contrary to the liberal progressive or pro-marginalized scholar suspicion, there is no conspiracy of overarching ideological-driven interests that explain the features and context of textbook. So, yan yung approaches. So, how many approaches? 5 approaches. So, anong ginawa? Ito yung scope of limitation. Okay? Yung scope of limitation is it's set to study, okay, textbook, high school textbook, not elementary textbook, early from 1990s to 2000, and it wanted to take a look at the following. Okay, particularly the patterns of nationalist discourses, okay, that are discernible in textbook from 100 years. Okay, the changes, ano yung mga changes na nag-happen over time, and what do they suggest about the prevailing power relations in that period. Okay, so yun yung tatlong question. Limitation of the study, mahirap maggawa ng ganitong study. Okay? Dahil kung ano lang yung available na textbook, eh yun lang yung gagamitin. Okay? So that's why yun yung kanyang naging isang problema. Okay? Wait lang ha, nagkakaroon lang ako ng problema with regards to charging. Okay? So, now, okay? So, yun yung limitation ng study ko, ng available lang. Okay? And then the other one is, okay, yung Filipino, it doesn't mean a priori. Okay? Hindi ito yung ginawa ko na study na tiningnan natin ang Filipino sa konteksto ng dialectics o what we call talaangkanan. So, yan yung isang limitation. So, ngayon, ang tanong dito, ano-ano yung mga ginamit na textbook? Ano-ano yung 15 textbooks na yon? Okay? So, particularly, ito yung mga names, mga big names ito. Okay? That is from 1905 to year 2000. We have David Barrows. Okay? So, ito yung General Superintendent of Public Instruction. Ang hinala ko, ito ay siya ay naging Director of Education, baka naging Superintendent pa to ng ating PNS or Philippine Normal School. Another, the earliest Filipino academician historians are Leandro Fernandez and Conrado Benitez. Okay, they are from Columbia University and the University of Chicago. Ano, so ito ay mga pensionados pa. Another, we have Jofrino Alip and Gregorio Saide. Ito ay mga kilala, mga homegrown na natin to, na nag-graduate sa University of Santo Tomas and also studied in the University of the Philippines. Okay? Saide is popular, okay, as historian. Okay, sino-sino yung mga popular ng mga historian? We have Saide, another would be Constantino, another is sino pa ba? Agoncillo, okay? And then we have Sonia, the daughter of Saide, okay, na nagmana nung textbook writing na naging negosyo, pero si Sonia ay espouse, okay, particularly Christian-oriented construction of Philippine history. Okay? And then we have Teodoro Agoncillo, homegrown again. Kay Renato Constantino, an homegrown, okay, homegrown nationalist, okay, particularly historian. And then we have another, Eleanor Antonio, okay. Ito, medyo bago na to. Dr. Seni Reyes, he is from PNU, and also Dr. Tantenko. So nagtuturo pa sila ngayon dito sa atin, dito sa Philippine Normal University sa Manila. So tingnan nyo na lang dito kung ano yung gaano kakapal yung kanilang mga libro. So it tells about, medyo magugulat ka, no? Kasi kung nag-aral kayo ng Philippine history, so meron kayong mga textbooks. So David Barrows, okay, kung mapapansin nyo, 322, okay, tingnan natin kung paano natin. Yan, no? Kung mapapansin nyo, 332 pages, medyo makakapal, ano? Medyo makakapal yung mga textbook. Pero habang tumatagal ay, ang mga textbook natin ay panipis na ng panipis. Okay? So, yan yung isa kong sa mga observation. Now, another is, tiningnan nila, okay, kung paano yung context ng textbook production. Paano ba? Ano ang nangyari? Kung dati-dati, during the American period, okay, merong committee of textbook, national committee, or established committee or board whose function is to oversee matters related to textbook. Okay? So, nagkakaroon ng approval and selection. Okay? Pero, that is in the pre-Marcos regime. Okay? But sooner or later, during the the Marcos regime, okay, when Marcos, okay, entered into partnership with World Bank, okay, it implemented the Philippine Textbook Project, ano, and textbook was abolished to give way to the different, okay, or particularly privatization of textbook, okay, or what we call the Instructional Materials Corporation, okay. So kung mapapansin natin dito, okay, it has been reduced into private publishers' participation was reduced to the preparation of the manuscript. So meron tayong tinatawag na emergence of the different private school. Okay? Kung saan, ito yung mga pinag-usapan, minimum learning competencies, desired learning competencies for high school, and etc. So, that is, okay, the context. So, balikan natin muna yung pinag-usapan natin. Yung una, ang pinag-usapan natin ay, okay, ano yung una natin pinag-usapan? Okay, balikan natin. Una, sige, balikan natin uli. Number 1, okay, so if wanted to study, okay, the dialectics of textbook production in the Philippines, okay, so ang una nang diniscuss dito ng author is particularly ano yung approaches and how many approaches. Sige, you may type in the chat box, balikan natin, how many approaches yung possibility na pwedeng gawin in analyzing the textbook. How many? Anyone?
5 approaches.
5 approaches. Ano? So we have 5 approaches at ano-ano yung mga approaches na yon? Okay, first one. First approach. Okay. Yes, Joanna, tama. Okay, ano yung mga approaches? First one, critical pedagogy approach. Okay, second,
consensus document.
Okay, consensus approach or what we call the accommodation approach. Third, neutral
approach. It's neither yung
yes.
First or second.
Liza, hindi ko marinig yung sinasabi mo.
Neutral approach po, sir.
Okay, third, neutral approach. Fourth, what is the fourth one? Yung kay Mulders. It's a reflection of society, right? Okay, and last approach is, balikan nga uli natin, ano? So last approach is, okay, last approach, itong kay, okay, skeptical, okay, approach. So, yan yung consideration. Now, ano yung gustong tingnan? Ano yung apat na gustong tingnan sa textbook? Okay, minention ito sa abstract. Okay, yung unang gustong tingnan, yung views ng membership ng individual sa nation. Second, yung origin ng mga tao. Mamaya makikita nyo, ito napag-aralan nyo ito yung mga origin eh. I don't know kung ano yung mga textbook na nagamit nyo and etc. Next, ano yung view ng national self-image? Okay, because when speak of self-image, national self-image, meron tayong itinuturing na exclusion and inclusion. Sino lang yung mga in-include at sino yung mga in-exclude. Meron, yung pala nakakagulat, may mga in-exclude ang mga textbook na mga Filipino na hindi Filipino sa mga textbook. And then, or naging racist yung mga textbook. You try to imagine. And then the other one is hero and heroism. Okay? So, now, tingnan natin, isa-isahin natin. So 15 textbook, pinag-aralan natin binasa natin yung context ng textbook production. So ito yung una. Okay? So, membership in the nation. Okay? In the Philippines, religion and ethno-linguistic affiliation constitute demarcating lines that define majority and minority relationship. So kung mapapansin natin, anong ibig sabihin nito? Marami tayong mga ethnic tribes dito sa Pilipinas. Di ba? Sobrang dami nating mga ethnic tribes. Pero may dominant din tayo. Sino yung majority? Mga Christians. Okay? Ito yung mga numerically, mga majority. Cebuano, Tagalog, So, tapos ano yung views? So kung mapapansin mo, okay? Sinabi dito, mayroong bias. Okay? Bias sila, okay, to Muslims. Okay? So, bakit bias to Muslims? So in this regard, the early authors starting from Barrows exhibit clearly unfavorable attitude towards the Muslim. Okay, among the earliest authors, Fernandez, Saide, okay, and then Sonia Saide depicted Muslims naman as neutral. Okay? So, pero may mga bias assessment of judgment. Ano? So, bakit? Tingnan niyo yung mga views sa mga Muslim. Ano? Ang mga views sa Muslim, tingnan niyo na lang kung gaano kapangit. Ano? Mga pirata, mga kaaway, ano, mga Moro, pirata, piratical incursion, okay? The era of Moro piracy. So, ibig sabihin, positibo ba o negatibo ang pagtingin sa mga Muslim?
Negatibo po.
Negatibo, mga kaaway. Isipin nyo yan. Yan yung medyo nakakagulat. The absence of proper contextualization. Okay? For example, sa Lopez, ano, kung mapapansin natin ang Lopez or for example, marami tayo na mga ang Sariaya na lang. Ligay yung kwento ko. Nagkamali ako sa pagsasabi ko ng kwento na naka-3 kaming settlement. Naka-4 kami pala na settlement. Yung una ay sa Barangay Castañas, sinugod yun, okay, ng mga Muslim. Okay, bakit sinugod? Ang tanong, ang defection ng mga sinasabi ng mga una ay sinugod ng mga Moro. Pero mali pala yun kasi yun yung kanilang resistance kasi bilang ganti ng mga Muslim dahil sa patuloy na panunugod ng mga Kastila sa Mindanao. So gumaganti lang sila. Okay? So yun yung isang consideration nyo. Kaya nga sinasabing the absence of proper contextualization amplified in the impact of bias praising without reference to the fact that such Muslim activities were in response at least partly to the efforts of Spaniards to subdue them and later to retaliate against the natives who become Christians and who or cooperated with Spaniards. So gumaganti lang. Ito nakakaano kasi may mga continuous attacks, depredation, customary raids, looting of churches, kidnap, killing of priests, okay? Abducted natives, particularly the Christians. Okay? So, another is the allusion to the warlike qualities. Ano? Pag sinabing, di ba, bakit ang tingin natin sa mga Muslim ay napaka-negatibo? Because they are being portrayed negatively. You try to imagine, ano, history textbook that is nationally pero yung nationally implemented. Even the Muslims themselves are studying this textbook and yet they are portrayed as negative. Ano, 'di ba? Parang ano ba naman 'yun? Ano? So 'yun yung problema, ano? Then the anti-Muslim, okay? Ito naman makikita natin yung anti-Muslim discourses particularly with Sonia. Bakit? Kasi si Sonia ay Catholic. Okay? So another. Now, ito yung interesting. Okay? Origins. Ano naman yung mga origins? Saan ang galing? Okay? Di ba, I don't know. Sa inyong mga history textbook, saan tayo nang galing? Yung mga pinag-aralan nyo sa mga textbooks no, nung elementary, high school. Pinag-aaralan nyo pa ba ang tulay na lupa? Pinag-aaralan pa ba ang tulay na lupa? Yes or no? Yes or no? Anyone?
Yes. Yes.
Si King, naabutan niya.
Yes.
Si King ay medyo maedad-edad ng kaunti. Ano? I don't know kung yung mga younger students. Okay? So kung mapapansin natin, the origin of the Filipino people, Barrows set the pattern. Okay? The authors ranging from Fernandez and Saide, okay? They borrow it from Otley Beyer o yung tinatawag na migration wave theory. So una, may mga Aita na nag-migrate sa pamamagitan ng tulay na lupa, sinundan ng mga Indones, sinundan ng mga Malay, okay? So, yun yung influence ng migration theory ni Beyer, okay? Pero, this has been challenged by Hukano. Sinabi ng Hukano na hindi ito totoo, okay? The Convention Philippine History by pointing out because of the inadequate empirical grounding to the problems with interpretation, okay? And particularly its disturbing implication. Kasi napaka-racist nun. Kasi ano yung tingin natin sa mga katutubo? Ano ang tingin natin sa mga ita? Ano ang tingin natin sa mga ano, etc. So wala siyang empirical.
So, ibig sabihin, tayo ang Malay dahil tayo ang mga nakatira sa kapatagan. So, tapos ang mga katutubo na nag-decide ng mga manirahan sa mga kabundukan ay mas mababang uri ng mga tao. So, yun yung isang mga tinitingnan. So, kaya nga, kung mapapansin natin, okay, pero yung kay Hukano ay naging katanggap-tanggap na yan, okay, particularly as scientific. Pero, among textbook included, only DEX, okay, the Department of Education, Culture, and Sports, okay, in 1989 captured the essence and the importance of Hukano's formulation. However, okay, similar excuse would not apply to textbook published later than DEX. Kaya kung mapapansin nun, bakit naabutan pa ni King itong gantong lesson? Ano? Kasi hindi siya na-implement. Okay? So, hindi na ano yung kay Hukano. Ano? So, and then, okay? So, kaya kung mapapansin natin, okay? So, yun yung isang problem. Ano naman yung national image? Okay? Ano yung mga national image na pinresent? Okay? Dun sa mga libro. Ano? The national image presented in textbook was something Filipino students could not be proud of. Kaya nga, nung tinanong ko kayo, ano, kung mapapansin nyo, nung tinanong ko kayo, which is more civilized? Spanish or the pre-colonial? So, tapos sinabi nyo pre-colonial, it's because masyadong mababa yung pagtingin natin sa image ng origin natin. Eh, sino ba yung dapat i-blame? Hindi naman yung mga teachers natin, kundi itong mga textbook na to. Ano? So, adapted was to cite the works of early European American authors that contain positive evaluation. Although meron naman, ano, and then most textbook authors stake and claim that Philippines was part of the glorious empires. Okay? Particularly Malays were given the glowing praises, the first navigator, discoverers, colonizer, and conquerors of the Pacific world, pero walang basis. Okay? So, pero in the case of Saide and Saide, Gregorio and Sonia Saide, there is particularly the underdevelopment of our culture. And lagi tayong may allusion na laging, okay, yung ating pakikipagkalakalan sa mga Arabs at sa mga Chino ay nagbigay at nag-improve ng ating kultura. Diba? Yung tandaan nyo, pre-colonial, pangangalakal ng mga Chino, pagkangalakal ng mga Arabo, pangangalakal etc. So parang as if China improved the culinary and diet of early Filipinos, that the contribution of Asian neighbors included cultural artifacts such as even our dance and even our costumes. Diba? So yun yung nakakalungkot. And then, pero, si Agoncillo naman, okay, ay medyo hindi siya nag-assert ng active appropriation of indigenous people. Although isa siya sa mga radical na mga historians. And then ito yung umusbong yung tinatawag na bayanihan dance group, pero sinasabi that yung mga, for example, yung mga tinikling, ano, yung mga sayaw ng mga Muslim, okay, hindi yun natin ina-appropriate na yun ay sayaw na likha ng mga katutubo, kundi mga sayaw na nilikha na dulot ng impluwensya ng ibang bansa. Kaya napakababa ng tingin natin sa ating sarili. Nakakapagmura lang. Parang gusto ko na magmura. So, hindi ko mamaya pasensya na pag hindi ko na napigilan yung sarili ko. Ano? So, another, not only did the textbook writers are foreign influences as enriching elements in the development of Filipino culture, but they also took the favorable attitude towards these foreign influences as indicative of Filipino innate ability to embrace and satisfy foreign defined standards. Ano? That claiming the blending of many foreign influences made Filipinos and their culture unique. Another, ito pa yung nakakayamot, favorable sa foreign influences including the American and the Spaniards. Ano? May kaibigan ako nag-post sa Facebook, ano, tayo daw ay naka-experience ng 300 years sa Vatican, ano, another is 40 years sa Hollywood. Okay? So, pero hindi na dinagdagan. Nag-comment ako sa kanyang Facebook, ano, 3 taon sa mga Yakuza, ano, another 70 years sa Disneyland. Ano, parang na masyado na tayong na-Americanized at tayo humaling sa Amerika. Ano. At ngayon ay medyo mga 4 years naman sa Kung Fu Panda. Di ba? Yun yung ano, kasi because of Duterte's policy on the relationship with China. Okay? So, The evaluation of my American legacy is devoted 7 long pages, only one which was alluded to the negative effect of the rest were the positive. Ano? And then the idea of material progress was rejected with without high regards to building, weaponry, textile, ni yung Baxter Codex hindi napasama eh. Diba? Surigao Treasure, it's been discovered in 1982. Pero nagulat na lang kayo. Bakit parang mga bago pa lang tayo dun sa Surigao Treasure, ano? So, to sum up, authors did not seem to find problems with being influenced or shaped by foreigners, which was even seen as a blessing. Diba? Parang even colonialism is a blessing to us. Likewise, for virtually all authors, the early Filipinos' lack of materials and technological achievement did not hinder the claim of a civilized status which the author ascribed to their supposedly moral and orderly, harmonious way. Okay? Another, okay, tiningnan natin. Ano yung una na, di ba 4 yung tiningnan sa study na to? Yung una, ano yung tiningnan? Anyone? Balikan ulit natin. Ano yung una ulit tiningnan? The image. Diba? The national image. Second, ang tiningnan. Okay, what else? Anyone? Pa-type na lang. Pa-type na lang para at least ano. Okay, so we have origins. Okay, third one. May third na ba tayo? Ito ba yung third, yung kay Rizal? Okay. So third is, okay, ang third natin ay yung national self-image, okay, origins. Ang first natin ay, okay, ito pala, ano, membership sa nation. Okay, membership sa nation, national image, okay, and then the other one is, okay, also, last one, heroism. So, matindi yung heroism. Pag nagtuturo ako ng Rizal, laging merong Rizal versus Bonifacio. Laging may discourse. Ano? So, yan yung tensions and conceptualizing the nation. Ano? Another, si Benitez described Rizal as great leader, brilliant, the greatest man, and pride of Malay race. Okay? And then next is, okay, ito, Rizal was being presented as the greatest genius ever produced by Malay race, the greatest national hero of the Philippines, the greatest sided, the greatest and the most illustrious Filipino patriot and hero. Okay, the only praise, okay, for Reyes and Tantenco were really unremarkable. Si Dr. walang binigay na description. Ang only praise na ginawa nila ay particularly considered to Rizal was that from Ritana, you know. And then that's it. Okay, some appear disinterested, okay, to Rizal. Okay, common knowledge that it's that ang medyo nakakagulat, ano, the Americans that sponsored and promoted Rizal as a national hero, but the textbook during the American period does not really present Rizal as a hero. Okay. So Rizal Law was passed with the about aim of promoting in the 1950s Rizal and his ideas, which clearly suggested the official intent, which is to endorse him. However, textbook published since then were no more coherent nor progressive, okay? Particularly in portraying Rizal. The notion of official history or official national history can have a traction in the Philippine setting. One may argue that the promotion of Rizal in the textbook, okay, as national hero in school textbook stands as possibly the best test case. The findings here suggest that it has failed the test. Kaya kung magtataka kayo, bakit yung blogger hindi kilala si Rizal, I don't know. You know, because it's the failure of the textbook as well. Okay? So, then next, ito yung synthesis na pinresent. Okay? The discourse on nationalism, okay? The first 4 textbooks characterize the membership of the nation primarily anchored on, affiliated on Christianity. Non-Muslim are excluded. The Philippines as the only Christian nation, the recipient of civilizing influences from the Spaniards, from the Chinese, from the Indians, from the Arabs, parang as if wala tayo talagang kultura. Ano? The middle ground of textbook group, okay, portrayed nation as determinedly exclusively Christian, just like the first group. Kakalungkot talaga. Ano? The last group, they maintain almost exclusive Christian definition of membership in the society. Just like the middle group, the last group also dominated by confusing or incoherent references to nationalism. Okay? So, the next, dito mapapansin natin, the idea is that textbooks are used as hegemony control, which underpins critical pedagogy scholarship in the Philippines. Okay? First, the dominant group control the status apparatuses, including the school system, and they design and operate them in ways favorable to the interests. And this assumption seems warranted as indicated by policies in place during the American colonial period. Second, the dominant group are aware of the shape of the discourse that are compatible with the interests within the insipid, invasive portrayal of Rizal's heroic role in the American period textbook. And these texts ran counter to the supposed American initiative to install Rizal as the national hero. Okay? At ito yung tanong. What do all this suggest? Okay? The dominance of the confusing and contrasting images in textbooks points to a number of possibilities. Okay? Particularly not interested in the process of controlling the process of knowledge, and particularly it's because of the fact that government entities, particularly education department, issues guidelines in agencies and committees are designated to enforce such guidelines seems to belie this suggestion. Textbook publishing in the Department of Education has been identified by the corruption rhythm. Kaya kung mapapansin mo, ang dami ko mga kaibigan na teacher, mga estudyante ko sa MA and PhD, habang nagkaklase kami, grabe, parang wala nang silang pahinga sa pagpiprint ng mga modules. You try to imagine. So, na ngayon ay flexible learning, pero parang mas sa dami nilang ginagawa, every week nagpiprint na lang sila sa module. Kung mapapansin natin, ano yung problema? Bakit hindi na lang, for example, ginawang national textbook na lang, particularly national module to all students? Okay, para hindi na lang nahirapan yung mga teachers at i-contextualize na lang. So yun ang problema na titingnan natin. Because it's known that textbook publishing business, that publishers spend a lot of money to ensure that the textbook, despite of this questionable quality, would pass the evaluation process and get approved for sale to government schools as they constitute the largest. Kaya kung mapapansin mo, siguro yung mga ginamit yung textbook sa senior high school or sa inyong during high school, sobrang makapal ba, manipis? Anyone? Makapal, manipis?
Noon pong junior high, medyo makapal pa. Pero nang senior high pa.
Diba? Kung kailan nag-senior high, saka pa manipis. Dapat dyan, siguro, baka nagugulat kayo ngayon kung mapapansin nyo ang mga readings. Kagaya nito, you try to imagine, isang discussion lang natin, 36 pages na to. Diba? So, the more na dapat tumatanda ka, the more na mas bumibilis ka kasi magbasa eh. Diba? Eh kung mapapansin natin, bakit gano'n na yung mga module? Kung kailan patanda ng patanda, panipis ng panipis. So, the another proliferation of divergent views on many things, including nationalism, indicates a plurality of forces strong enough to penetrate the channels of such textbook. Ang isa pa nakakalungkot, even our curriculum and textbooks are influenced by the Roman Catholic Church. Wala namang masama. Kaya lang, hindi lang siya lang ang relihiyon sa atin. Marami kasi tayong iba't ibang relihiyon. For example, values education. Bakit yung values education natin napaka-Christian? Paano naman yung mga Muslim? So, particularly it's because it's a Christian-defined identity. So, yan yung problema. So, it is true, the colonial nationalist dichotomy, for it is a historical, essentialist character, removing nationalism from the temporal and spatial context, and etc. So, and for conclusion, okay, the conclusion is the limited pattern of increasingly level. There's no increasing level of consistency okay, as clearly dominant images of nationalism favorable, okay, that is favorable only to the interest of the ruling class. That these textbooks were more like an arena of ongoing contestation or a random output of textbook production processes rather than hegemonic control. So, that's it. So, yun. Okay? So, now, okay? Ilan na lang kayo. Ano, parang kakaunti na kayo. Naubos na lang naubos. Ano? Anyway, okay? So, now, sana i-breakout ko kayo. Kaya lang, pag i-breakout ko pa kayo, kakaunti na nga kayo, i-breakout ko pa kayo. I wanted to know your feedback. Okay? You talk to among yourselves on what did you realize. Ano? You just pretend na kaklase nyo lang ako. Ano? So, pag-usapan nyo kung ano yung mga topics and then later on, titingnan natin kung ano. What is its implication to nationalism? Yun yung first question natin, pwede natin tingnan. What is its implication towards national building? Okay. And another is, what is its implication? The implication of this study towards our future. Okay, so yan yung mga questions natin. Okay, sige, you may now talk to one another. Ano? Bababa lang ako, kuha muna akong tubig. Ano? So tapos mag-usap-usap muna kayo. I'm going to give you 10 minutes for that. Ano? At mag-usap-usap kayo para ano. Then after that, we're going to discuss it. Okay, Kyle, Joanna, pangunahan nyo na yung discussions. Ano?
Joanna. Hoy, usap daw. Hello. Hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Hello din.
Mag-usap daw.
Ano po yung discussion natin, ma'am?
Hoy.
Hello guys.
Ano yung implication, ma'am?
Guys.
Ano yung tanong?
Ano, yung implication towards nationalism. What is the text implications towards our future?
What?
Ulit daw, Joanna. Hindi ka masyado naintindihan.
Yung implication towards nationalism and towards our future.
Mag-open kayo ng mic.
And towards future?
Mas lalo pang...
Towards future ba? Yes, ta?
Oo.
Siguro so ako.
Sige.
For me yung yung origin, isa yun sa isang element na makakapag-improve ng para sa future ng nationalism kasi kung ano yung origin mo, matre-trace mo kung saan man ang galing. So, parang ganun.
Hi. Hello.
Yung naman dun sa yung sa self-image, parang ini-implicate dun sa national self-image, yung dun sa question na towards our future, parang kailangan, binibigyang importance nung text yung, parang pinapaalam ng text yung national image, yung image natin, para alam natin yung, hindi ko maisip yung term, para hanggang sa next generation baga, aware pa rin tayo. Katulad yung sa yung sa Gintong Pamana, 'di ba? Kung hindi natin mapapanood 'yun, parang hindi natin alam na ay ganun pala yung mga yung pinagmula natin, may ganun palang skill yung ano natin. Yun lang.
Kaya niya na yan. Go, guys.
Ba't kayo natigilan? Hindi na kayo nag-discuss.
Okay.
Sige lang, discuss pa kayo. Huwag na kayo mahiya sa akin.
Lalo tayong nababawasan.
Anim na tayo.
Lolo, ikaw, ano? Ano sa'yo?
Ano nyo?
Lolo sa'yo. Ano sa'yo, Lolo? Jeya, ano sa'yo?
Ikaw, King. Baka may sasabihin ka.
Ako, bali ano lang, insight.
Sige.
Go
Eh,
lang.
medyo naunawaan ko yung ngayon na maraming natatabunan sa ating nakaraan. Dahil sa mga isinulat ng mga dayuhan tungkol sa ating pinagmulan, nakalimutan natin kung ano ba talaga ang tunay na katotohanan tungkol sa mga bagay na tunay na ganap. At 'di ba sabi nga ni Sir, hindi na naituturo ngayon yung tungkol sa tulay na lupa. Eh naabutan ko pa siya. So ayun, medyo nagkakaroon tayo ng taguan ng katotohanan. Kaya yung ginagawa natin ngayon is tingnan o alamin ang totoong nangyari noong mga panahon na tayo ay nagsisimula pa lamang. Yan lang. Jeya, ikaw.
Jolo.
Para sa akin, towards doon sa nationalism and towards sa future, malaki ang naging epekto ng mga nabanggit kanina. Hindi ko na maisa-isa yun. So, ayun.
Ba't ka tao?
Ikaw, Maxine.
Ano lang ako dun sa pagiging yung sa judgmental sa mga Muslim. Parang wala. Hirap naman. Kasi may kamag-anak nga akong Muslim. So parang kaya nga sabi, nakakalungkot na ganun yung tingin sa mga Muslim. So parang kailangan mo yung magbago ng ganong mentalidad na hindi naman talaga ganun yung ibang mga. Yun lang. Para sa future.
Okay? So, maganda rin nating tingnan. Thank you very much sa mga comments nyo. Maganda rin natin dito tingnan. Okay? Particularly, ano ba yung, siguro, sabihin natin kung ano ba yung potential nito, what is particularly the implication of this to the future, to nationalism, particularly, So, pero, gusto kong maging positibo din sa pagtingin dito. Particularly, I wanted to take a look at it on what its implication to teacher education. You are now in a pre-service teacher education, right? At mapapansin nyo dito, ang laki ng gampanin ninyo bilang mga guro. Okay? na ang gampanin natin, okay, baguhin talaga natin yung mga ideological apparatus na to na masyadong na ginagawa na perpetuate sa ating educational system. Kaya nga lagi kong sinasabi to sa mga estudyante. Kaya bakit ako inspired na magturo sa mga future teachers. Kasi kung ano yung naipapakita ko klase ng pananaw, yung pagiging, pinapakita ko sa inyo yung radicalism ko. Pero yung pagiging radical ko ay, radical ako sa lahat. I'm criticizing capitalism. I'm also criticizing communism. I'm criticizing all. So yun yung isang magandang aspeto ng ginagawa ko. Pero sa pagki-criticize na to, meron ba akong pine-present na alternative? Yung alternative na pine-present ko is particularly, ay hindi lang nag-i-stick into criticism. But particularly, I wanted to na magtingnan, ano ba yung magagawa natin? Kung mapapansin nyo, bakit, for example, ngayon, we are already joining the PNUSL. Halimbawa, tayo, PNUSL is already joining. Kung mapapansin nyo, as if we are already joining international arena in terms of production of knowledge. Diba? Ang dami na nating mga series of webinars. It's the first time that we are participating with the different universities, well-known universities here in the Philippines. Sooner or later, we will be participating internationally. It's because we wanted to show them that we are capable of, participating and have our own production of knowledge, even though we are in the rural area. So kasi meron tayong maibabahagi na knowledge. And then, gusto ko rin maipakita sa estudyante na yung mundo nyo, hindi lang iikot yan sa Lopez. Hindi lang yan iikot sa atin sa Tayabas or sa Quezon. Na the more mo i-share, yung kahit na ang i-share mo na scholarlism mo ay yung pagtingin mo at pananaw mo dun sa mundo mong ginagalawan. Ang dami kasi nating pwedeng pag-aralan sa atin . O sa history na lang, ang dami nating pwedeng pag-aralan. Sa mga susunod na araw, pupunta na tayo doon. Ang pag-aaral natin sa problema sa lukad, problema sa yung ating history, local history, pupunta na tayo doon. So, binubuo ko lang ngayon yung historiography. At ito ngayon yung dinadala ko. Ito na ngayon yung ibinabahagi ko. Kasi, mapapansin natin, itong mga history textbooks na to, nag-create din ng exclusion. Although, isinama ang mga Tagalog, pero lagi para tayo mga passive recipient, di ba, ng mga colonial powers. Na, ako kasi, when I was studying history, when I was in elementary and even high school, parang naging nasa roller coaster ride ka. Yung tulay na lupa, hindi yung totoo. Yung Indones, Malay, hindi yan totoo. So, pero mapapansin mo, parang from uncivilized, going to civilized, tapos kung mapapansin nyo, bakit ang pagtingin sa mga Marcoses ay, kung mapapansin mo, bakit yung pagtingin sa mga Marcoses, bakit merong mga tinatawag na historical revisionism? Bakit dinidisregard yung mga naging biktima ng martial law? Kasi yung nagsulat din ng textbook, hindi yun diniscuss sa textbook. Kasi sa dami ba naman nilang, sabihin man natin na, ang dami nilang inutang, marami silang inutang sa World Bank, maraming mga namatay na mga aktivista, what else? So, sobrang, sa mga textbook, yung iba, mga positibo din yung ipinotrade ng martial law. So, kaya, kung mapapansin natin, dito natin makikita na bakit kayong mga millennial, bakit ang tingin, ng mga kabataan ngayon sa kasaysayan ay ganito. Siguro, that's a failure. That is not only the failure of the students. That is a failure of our educational system. Pero bakit may mga kabataan na ibang mag-isip? What is the reason? It's because they are being influenced by their teachers. Bakit? Kasi yung mga teachers nila, hindi lang gumamit ng mga textbook. hindi ginamit yung mga national textbook na gustong ipa-implement, ano? Because they are looking for a higher form of scholarlyism. Okay? So yun lang yung perspective ko doon. Okay? So any questions, concern? Anyone? Wala na kayong concern? Okay, question. Gusto nyo ba yung ganitong discussion? Para mas madali na kayo nagbabasa ngayon, no? Kasi parang, I don't know kung nabasa nyo na to, yung isinend ko sa inyo. So ngayon, okay, by Thursday, you're going to have your reading activity. You need to come up with your Cornell notes. So you try to imagine na present ko na sa inyo yung mga points. Ano, so yun yung mga hanapin ko based on your rereading of the text. Okay? So marami pang hindi nakakapag-submit ha. I just wanted to marami pang hindi nakapag-submit, kailangan makahabol kayo, talagang maiipunan kayo. So kaya yun, anyone, okay, meron pa bang questions? Concern?
Wala na po ata.
Okay, kung wala na, gawin ko lang munang host si Kyle, okay, so that makakapagkwentuhan pa kayo. Wait lang. Okay, tapos para ako ay makaalis na. Okay, sige, paalam.
Thank you, sir.
Bye po, sir.